Right, welcome back to the channel. It's been probably a couple of days or a week or whatever since I've last done a video, and I thought I'd do a quick update again just to see and let you know where things are at if you're interested. So let's have a look. I'll start from here. Oh yeah, I've added these door handles are just from a hardware store. Nice little bit of chrome. I actually like this design better than the ones that come down, so quite easy to put in and quite nice. I don't think I've done anything different in here. I think if anything I've already showed you from a last video, so we'll leave that as that. What I might do is I might cover some of the tools that I take with me, but I'll wait for that. Up here, this is actually pretty much just for the windscreen when I take the top off and fold the windscreen down. So ornamental, and it kind of gives it that, well, that authentic Land Rover look as well. The actual spare is behind the seats. Nothing much has changed here aside from a little bit more patina, because I love that stuff. Mechanically everything's okay. I did have to change the driver's side or right side hub. The seal, not the hub itself, the hub seal was leaking and it was purging oil, so that needed to be done urgently. I couldn't let that go, and plus of course it sprays oil all over the brakes and everything else. But one little thing I did, I guess I never really thought about it, or if I did I've forgotten. On these dry flanges here, you'll see that there's a little bolt there. So that there is a filler / drain plug, and when I changed the seal, and so I had to remove all this, I just basically undid these bolts and removed the whole dry flange with the axle. And when I removed the actual hub, I noticed that the grease that I used initially when I packed the bearings were no longer there. It was all oil bath. In other words, there was plenty of lubrication, plenty of oil, even though some of it leaked out. But I noticed that this was actually requiring oil rather than grease. So when I replaced the seal, and I don't know why the seal failed because I've got a brand new distance piece in there and everything else, but anyway, when I replaced it, I decided to fill this up. Now, you actually use this to fill, and you then level it so the plug's about there in that position, in a 9 o'clock position, and that determines the level of oil. So that's what I went ahead and did. And so I know that the bearings are well and truly lubricated. I don't think there was anything else. Everything else under here is quite good. So one thing I did do, let's go to that then, recently did, is I added this. Now this is a very old Lucas, I guess a spotlight, and yeah, it is a little bit oversized for a reverse light, but one of the things I wanted to have is a powerful light, so that way when I'm setting up camp, I can actually see what I'm doing. So I think it turned out pretty good. I've got a little switch inside which I've just kind of jerry-rigged, but ideally what I need to do is have a switch on the dash somewhere. I'm going to have to think about how I'll do this. I might actually replace this and get another one, but without this extra hole here, because I don't think I'll be having more than 3 extra gauges. So I might just actually fit a flick switch here with a light to tell me whether it's on and off. But it works, so we'll leave it for that until I determine what to do with this. The other thing I did was, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. Well, you can see it over here. If you look at the gap there, you can see that there's a bit of rubber. So when I replaced, or when I removed the roof, or this whole area here, while it was off, I actually put in some self-adhesive D profile. I'll see if I can find another view. Here we go. So the rubber there. So that's a D profile rubber, the same as the stuff that I used on the doors here, or on the channels, and it looks like that's doing a great job. So that's another little task done, because there was a massive gaping hole here. I also readjusted it, so there was a lot more of a gap, but I've adjusted it so now it sits flush. The other thing that is happening here is this very old seal here. In fact, you probably can't see it, but I can actually see through the gap just up the top there. So this is leaking, I know, because it was raining and a little bit of water came in from the top there. So that's another little task that I need to do. Still got to fix the rear handle. And I think that's about it, really. Still driving it, still loving it. It's just a joy. It's so much fun to drive this thing. That's right, I was going to cover the toolbox. Let's do that just quickly. Now I use this under here for the toolbox, but eventually I want to put a spare tank, which means that all this area here is going to go. So what do I have? I've got some water, I've got some grease, plumber's tape, obviously some sealant, high temp sealant, and I've got some bits and pieces like wiring, and some more wiring here, and in here I've got I've got some bits and pieces like blade fuses and standard fuses in there, and other bits and pieces that I can fix things up where I need to. Right, so this little toolbox, as I said, belonged to my son when he was little, and it actually is quite a good fit. It sits in that, as you just saw, that cavity just perfectly. So little things I've got here that will hopefully help. Some original wiring, yeah, some nuts and bolts, etc. And in here I've just got sockets and spanners, screwdrivers, and all that kind of stuff. And the majority of the tools that I've got in here, of course, are all the main ones, such as 9/16, 1/2 inch, 7/16. And you can see that these are very old tools. These ones here I actually got from a tip shop. I'll just keep taking more stuff out. Now a lot of these tools, and these are not the entire collection I've got, these are the ones that I know will do 90% of the vehicle, will take care of the vehicle there. But a lot of these old tools that I've got here actually belong to my grandfather, especially the Wickworth stuff that I've got. So suffice to say that when I rebuilt the car, I actually used his tools to rebuild it. I didn't actually need to buy any new tools. I did end up buying some extra ones because I wanted a double of things. Like, for example, here I've got two 7/16s. And so the reason why I have two 7/16s is because generally you need one for a nut and one for the bolt. So I take two. And a raft of other sockets which also match. you know, the stuff that I need. I do have the occasional metric stuff that's a 15 mil. But everything, as you can see, there's quite a lot. Everything fits inside this little lunchbox, which fits perfectly inside the cavity there. Just got to make sure that when I put all the tools back in here, you don't just throw them in like I've just done, because then you can't close the lid. So I'll go ahead and organise this now. So this is the little cavity that I was telling you about, and if you own a series you'll know exactly what I mean. And I've got obviously some gloves and whatnot that go in there, and that just fits like a glove right in there. It's perfect. And that at the moment is my little toolbox setting. Another little thing that is quite common, but I actually didn't know when I was building this, was I always was wondering, how the hell do you stop these front seats from sliding forward when you're driving? So with my driver's seat, I've got adjusters and the metal frame. There you go. So the seat's not going to go anywhere. But on here, a friend of mine told me to put some little angle brackets, as you can see there, and on underneath the seat a little bit of timber. And so when I put this in there, it's always interesting to do it one-handed. It locks beautifully there, so the seat does not come forward. Little things like that just blows me away how simple a fix is. So I think pretty much that's it for an update, and I'll just keep bringing videos out, and they might be of interest to you. And if you've got any other suggestions on what you'd like to see on this vehicle, by all means put them in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching.